Sons of Sonics.
I can see the stars up in the sky and I feel like I can reach you.
Peace and beautiful greetings, y'all. Welcome to Building with Queen. I am Queen Britney, here to bring you your building steps for a successful life. What's up, y'all? As y'all see, I'm outside today. Catch me outside. How about that? I used to love that little... It don't matter anyway. I'm outside. Why? Because nature is one of my favorite places, and as I am preaching the word of self-love and doing the things that serve you best, I would like to exemplify what that looks like. For me personally, I relate to outside. I got to find me a space with some trees or some water, or just something, a breeze, a swing to swing on. Like, I need to be outside, because when I'm outside, I feel good. I feel charged by nature. And yes, I am one of those weird tree-hugging people, and I'm proud of that. Or not. Like, it really doesn't matter, because I know it works for me, right? So I find myself going to nature in order to keep my cup full, because I feel refreshed and I feel charged when I do that. And this week's episode is outside, because it's one that you're going to have to really marinate on, right? This week we're jumping right into our third episode of the 5-episode series, The Fifth Agreement. And this week's agreement, which is the third agreement by the book Fifth Agreement by Miguel Ruiz. Most people know it's the 4 agreements, but if you didn't know, he added a fifth one. And this is all about self-mastery, right? So here we are, episode 3. Don't make assumptions. Okay. And this is why I got y'all outside, because I don't know, this one used to knock me over the head a little bit, and actually took a lot of practice for me to be able to implement in my life, because I used to make assumptions off of the craziest stuff that I should never make assumptions off of. And what's an example of some crazy things to make assumptions off of? What somebody else is thinking, why something is happening, why somebody reacted a certain way, or anything related to assumption. You should never do. Not even assuming that you know how things are going to work out for you. Sometimes that's where your faith activates, right? You don't have to always have the answers. But the most important thing about removing assumptions is removing anxiety. We're working towards healthy feelings and healthy thoughts that bring us a more peaceful life. And making assumptions really causes your mind to just run and go. Because once you don't act like you ain't never created a narrative in your mind, okay? We have done it. Oh, he didn't answer the phone, he must be doing this. And then he probably was so-and-so. And then I know that they be doing this, so he probably doing it. You done made a whole storyline in your head just based off somebody not answering the phone, okay? Sis can't take you to the store today, and now you got a whole scenario of why. Don't be so narcissistic, making everything about you, okay? This is where we get into releasing and allowing and moving into things with love. I've had a lot of disagreements where I assumed how the other person was thinking based off of what they said, because it's not something that I would do, right? And that's not healthy in a relationship. A healthy relationship or a friendship, companionship of any kind, whether it's with your parents or your children or your spouse or your co-workers or your friends, consists of you not being crazy, okay? And you're being crazy when you start assuming every little thing. So this week, I would love for you all to practice the spirit of faith and flow. And that's what I'm gonna call this week's episode. The spirit of faith and flow, okay? We have faith. And we talked about this last week when we discussed don't take anything personally, right? Being in the spirit of letting things go, okay, when they don't happen the way that you think they're supposed to happen. A lot of us grew up when they used to say, well, if this didn't work out, it's because something better is going to happen. And we took that and just let it bypass. But that's very much so the truth. When you're in your lane of manifesting and you're asking God for something, or you're asking the universe for something, then you have to understand that you don't know what all those steps require. Assumption will move you out of alignment with your higher self. Something goes wrong, you're assuming it's going wrong because it doesn't feel good. It ain't sitting right with your spirit, or it's uncomfortable, or it's not what you thought it would be. But in all actuality, how many times has that thing gone wrong turned into something actually better than what you initially thought you were getting or wanted? You got to be walking in your faith. And during these times where we have a society that is trying to make us feel broken, trying to make us feel broke, trying to make us feel left out, singled out, victimized, it's empowering to activate your faith. Some things you just have to know. And even if you don't believe in a higher power, you can still have faith that life loves you. And if you do have a higher power, then you must have faith that your higher power loves you, right? And if nothing else fails, you can love you. Somebody can love you, even if it's you. And in order for you to be in a life of fulfillment, there is a process that we have to trust. So never make assumptions. As you're walking on this path and trying to reach your highest potential of being, your highest conscience, your higher conscience, you are on a path of wanting to change how things have been going for you, the outcome of things. Well, this is one of them. Change your perception. That was a big part of what we discussed last week. And that's why I love that not taking things personally rolls right into never make assumptions, because you really don't know sometimes what you think you know. Yeah, we have intuition. We can feel certain things, but sometimes you can feel something that is off and mistake it for something else. It's not always good to act on these assumptions, but more importantly, to act on faith. And that's it. You have to know what you know that you know. If you have people in your life that you constantly assume hurt because they have consistently hurt you or disappointed you or let you down in the past, then the whole point is to choose some people that you don't feel the need to assume with. Get in alignment with relationships and get your path in alignment with yourself to not make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. Also, when you do that, you start putting walls up around yourself. Because God in life is trying to give it to you in a more miraculous way, on a greater scale, on a much higher scale, greater magnitude. Let me say that, because the word I'm looking for is like magnanimous or just gigantic, like Jupiter, life-changing, out of this world, until your mind start putting boundaries on how these things are going to play out, or the way that the only way it's going to work is if it happens this way. That's a lie. It could work in another way if you open your mind and believe it and remove assumptions from what you know. We don't know everything. I want to live a long life. I believe I'm going to live a long, healthy life, right? And I also trust that during this path of my long life, that no matter how old I get, as I get older, I will continuously be growing. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush to learn everything and to know everything, because I want to enjoy the moment and be in the process of growing and understanding and understanding and connecting and enjoying and being in bliss and being happy. And that is the goal. So think about this. The next time you're making an assumption about, or hypothesis about what you think the outcome is going to be, I want to know if you can think about how that assumption makes you feel. Because most of the time, it's not good. A lot of the times when we're assuming and we're wrong. Or you assume something great is going to happen, or something is going to happen like that, and then when it doesn't happen, you're disappointed. Now you think your great thing is not going to happen because you assumed it was going to happen this way, and because it didn't happen that way, now you're assuming it's just not going to happen. So there go those walls that you're putting up. Block it. Because your mind and how you feel and how you connect your mind and your heart is how you manifest. So if you take that disappointment from that assumption not being what you thought it was, now you're putting yourself in a resistant space and slowing the process of manifestation down even more. You just got to know that you know that you know. I'm a single mother of 4 kids. It's been plenty of times where I just had to know, okay? Let me give you one example. I'll give you one example. Losing my children's father, my first 2 sons, father passed away when my oldest son was 5 and our second child, my second son, was 18 months. It was difficult. But do you know how many people told me how hard it is to be a single mom? Oh, you need to do this. You need to get a man. The only way you're going to make it is if you get with somebody that's going to pay half. And those were their assumptions. Luckily, I didn't fall into those kind of assumptions because at the end of the day, I knew what I knew. I knew that it didn't look like to them that I was going to be able to handle it. But in my heart and in my mind, I was confident that no matter what I had experienced, no matter what loss I endured, that I could do it. And I did. And then turned around after my 3rd son, right? I got with my daughter's father, which is my 4th child, my baby. And I got in that relationship and I got pregnant. And no, I didn't want to keep it, but my heart said yes. And a message was sent to me that said yes. So I went on and I said, I'm going to do this, right? And things weren't working out with her father. And I didn't want to be with him. But I almost allowed myself to believe that I had to stay with him because I already had 3 children that I was taking care of by myself. Until one day, homeboy comes out his mouth and he says, oh, you don't want to be with me no more? Well, I want to see how you take care of 4 kids by yourself instead of 3. Ooh, baby. What? I'm over here like, oh, okay, you don't know me. Because I know what I know. And I know what I'm capable of. I will never allow anything that I'm experiencing, nothing that's going on in my life, whether it's good or it's bad, to determine how I feel about myself and my confidence in what I can achieve and what I can make happen. There are people out here, and I knew this at that time, it's people out here generating $5,000 to $10,000 a month by themselves. I don't need to stay miserable with nobody just so I don't have to be a single mom. And I didn't, because I love me and my happiness matters and my children seeing me happy matters. So you know what I did? Put my chin up. And the days that it was hard, I cried. The nights that I was tired, I cried and I let it go. And I got up the next morning and put my big girl pants on and took the world by storm, because you have to know that you know what you know, okay? Yes, it was difficult taking on that task because at that time, I didn't know what I know now about just simply releasing anger and not being in bitterness. Ego drove me back then because I was going to prove that I'm the rawest, okay? I was going to prove to him and to everybody that y'all can't tell me what I can't do when I know who I serve and what I do it for. That has to be applied to every area in your life when you activate your faith. It's not cocky, it's faith. It's knowing and believing in the things that you have not yet seen. And you can't do that by assuming anything. You can't have healthy relationships when you consistently want to assume that you know how the other person feels and you know how the other person is thinking. Assuming will ruin your life and ruin your relationships. With that being said, that's what I got for y'all. Because I'm outside. And I don't want to be assuming no more. And I don't want y'all to be assuming anymore. Let's tear down these walls. Okay? There are people that love you. And you will never see it until you actually believe it. You are really not alone. But you won't get that until you start telling yourself that you're not alone. And that there are people that love you. There's a job that needs you. There's a career or a business that's waiting for you. Let's remove the walls. We taking the boundaries off of ourselves. That's where that removing the judgment comes from. Don't judge yourself to the degree where you lack the confidence in yourself to have the capability to do whatever you set your mind to. Your mama might have used to tell you that. Your grandma could have told you that. Somebody in life said and you heard that you can do whatever you set your mind to. But guess what? It's really hard to do, making assumptions all the time. I encourage y'all to take that all in with a nice deep breath, because I mean it with all of the love in my heart. I don't have to know you to believe in you, but my belief in you is not enough. You gotta believe in you. You have to believe that you have the strength that it takes to correct your thinking, to create a new mind and create a new life for yourself. You can do that. I believe in you. And I challenge you to believe in you. Okay? So this week, we're removing assumptions. Every time you catch yourself assuming and you realize that's what you're doing, double it back. Dang, look at me assuming again. Let me not do that. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what it looks like. But I know that I know what it is. I got the faith to stand on. I can believe. Okay? And you can too. We can believe. I'm trusting y'all. All right? I appreciate your love so much. Like, subscribe, share. If you really have anything that you want to tap in with me about, sometimes I am a little, maybe hours or a day behind with responding to your DMs and messages, but still send them, because I want to know how you feel. I want you to tap in with me if you have any questions, and if you need counseling or coaching for self-love, I would love for you to be here with me so I can help you. Okay? Because somebody helped me. I had a coach too. All right? I had people too. You know, shout out to Sabrina Hicks, Queen Life Coach in Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out to April Artem Sparks, my mentor, professional therapist, podcaster. She's been on TED Talk. April Autumn Sparks, look her up. All about women's empowerment, healthy relationships. I have coaches too. We all need somebody that we can go to and give us good advice. Make sure you check in with your tribe and your family. But if you need somebody to tap in with and you don't have anyone connected to you directly, or who's connected to you directly isn't really giving you advice that sits good with you, let's talk about it. I'm open. I love y'all. I'm so grateful for y'all. Thank you for sitting through this podcast. And I am looking forward to the next week, because next week we'll be on the 4th agreement. And I'm so proud of that, because we're almost through this book and you ain't even have to read it. How about that? Peace, y'all.
Only had to take a step into my lane and trust in every seed that I have sown. Life is full of lessons, but you pave the way. Don't regret the path that you have chose. We can only live to see a better day. Don't ever feel like you're alone, no.